Hi there, welcome to Nonsense Whisky. My name's VinPF, and on today's episode we've got some independent whisky. Now, I've been covering a fair few independent whiskies recently, and I've been putting that out there to the people who've been watching, you guys, and in the comments you've said you want to see more independent bottlings, so I'm going to do a fair few more, and it won't be all the time, but I'm going to mix them in quite evenly with everything else now. Now, I've got quite a lot of that boutique whiskey company stuff to go. I've had a few sets delivered recently. If you check out my Instagram feed at No Nonsense Whisky all the way through, no capitals, no spaces, nothing, just straight through. I did a kind of little mini unboxing of that, and this is one of them. This is the Glengoyne 17-year-old batch 1, and comes in a little vial like that when you get a little dram. But the things you need to know about that boutique whiskey company: it's small batch whiskey. It isn't single cask whiskey unless stated otherwise. They do whiskey from all over the world now. They do some rums as well underneath that boutique rum company, and they also do some gins and stuff like that. Won't be covering any gins, but I might get some rums on here at some point. If you're interested in that, let me know below. Now, let's look at this one. I wanted to go for this one first because I've been doing some Glengoynes recently. Back in February, I went up to visit Glengoyne. There's a video somewhere around, so I'll put a link up there if you want to see that. One of my first out and about vlogs, so it's a bit shaky, but I still enjoyed the whole experience of it all. So, important numbers with this. Now, if you're not familiar with that boutique whiskey company, nearly everything they put out, in fact I think probably everything, is a half litre, 50 cls. Important to note is that when you're working out your maths and whether it's worth it or not, it's a 49.1% ABV. It's £175 for this bottle, and it's one of 1,204 bottles. So again, really small batch. These things tend to sell out quite quickly. Having said that, it's still available right now for that £175 on Master of Malt. If you're in the UK, I think they do deliver worldwide with extra shipping charges and whatnot. Now, before we get into this, it's important to note the 17-year-old nature of this. Now, there's going to be some complaints about it for sure, and I'm going to touch on that a little bit later on, because if you know anything about your Glengoynes, they've got their age statement core range, and they do have a 21-year-old available. Sure, it's at 43%, but it's a lot cheaper than this. But we'll talk about that once we've done the nosing and tasting, shall we? Let's get into the nose and see what we've got on that. Now, if you know Glengoyne at all, they do quite a lot of sherry influence stuff, and this is one of those really high sherry influence drams, for sure. Bags of those kind of dried fruits you'd expect, those kind of raisins, sultanas, that sort of thing. And for me, it's a little bit treacly as well. It's not like overpoweringly on that treacle, but it's definitely in there. Let's try on the palate. Overall, it's got a good mouthfeel. It's not too in your face. Loads of them dried fruits you'd expect from that kind of sherry influence that's going on there. Dare I say, it's a little bit Christmas cakey. It's something you normally get when you're talking about this kind of dram. Christmas cakey vibes, those kind of dried fruits. A little bit sherry alcoholic-y. Nice. A little bit spicy as well. Just a couple of little like aniseedy style notes on the back end of that. Nothing too overpowering. If you don't like aniseed, don't take that note as gospel. It's something that you really have to dig deep to find. Finish is kind of medium-y and really does continue those flavours. There's nothing surprising there, nothing too bold. I think it's one of those drams that you can really delve into and pick loads more out. You know, that's not really my vibe on this channel. The whole no nonsense whiskey thing means I kind of cut down on those expansive tasting notes. Loads of other people are doing that sort of thing if you want to go check them out. But we need to talk about the elephant in the room with this, and it's something that you guys will have picked up upon, and I'm something that I'm not really sure what that boutique whiskey company is doing with their price points. I tried to find out, but it's not easy. Now, this is a 17-year-old whiskey, and it's 49.1%. It's their first batch of this, batch 1. Now, they've also got a 9-year-old out, which is fine. You know, I haven't tried these things. I haven't tried the 9-year-old or this 19-year-old. They've got a 19-year-old as well, which is at 50.9%. So it's another kind of like % or 2 ABV on. But it's about £10 cheaper. than this one currently, right now, on Master of Malt. I'm not sure how that's worked out. Obviously, Master of Malt gets to choose their own prices. I'm not sure what the RRP on these things are. But the big thing is that you can get a Glengoyne 21-year-old, which is, if you do your maths right, it's 4 years older than this and 2 years older than the 19 I just mentioned. And that's £130 on Master of Malt. 43%, sure, but you're also getting a 700ml, 70 centilitre bottle for that. These are all half litres, so you're already missing out on that. I'm not entirely sure how they're valuing this, to be honest. The cask type is different. I've had a look at the pictures. I've not tried this 19-year-old. The definitely a little bit of less sherry influence if the photos are to be believed. Obviously, lighting, stuff like that. Basically, we just don't know why. So the value is going to be on your personal flavour profiles. And that means you're going to have to try and get hold of this to try it first, which is something that's going to be a bit of a struggle. I was lucky to get sent a sample of this. But based on the information I've got, I don't think I can recommend this. It's a lovely, lovely dram. Really glad I've got to try it. But for £175, ramping that up, if you include the 70 centilitre size, it's half litre. You know, we're pushing on for over £200 a bottle, and that sort of price is something that I can't really get on board with, no matter how nice it is. There's plenty of other whiskey out there that is cheaper than that I would recommend over something like this. But if you do get a chance to try it, do go ahead. If you see it at a festival, definitely try it. It's definitely worth trying for sure, but I can't say it'd be worth buying.